Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to animate your avatar for your final project. So before I add animation, I'm going to clean up my avatar a little bit and just make sure she's ready for the camera. So anything you see here in the 3D window will be captured. So if you have baselines showing, internal lines showing, those are going to remain in your recording. So what you want to do is go to your 3 toggle menu here. In the middle section, garment display, we can turn off show internal lines and show baselines. So already she looks much better. The other thing I want to bring your attention to is her shadow and the 3D ground grid. So if you want to turn either one or both of those off, you can do that here. You have some more options here. For students who are working with some more advanced features, you can play with the lighting, but this is a more advanced skill, so I'm going to save that for the intermediate class, but just know that you can experiment with some stuff here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the ground grid on, but like I said, you can turn the shadow off, you can make the grid go away, whatever you think works best with your avatar. Now that I've got my avatar ready to go, I'm going to close my 2D window and grab my library. And under avatar, you're going to go, since this is a female avatar, I have to work in the female category. And I'm just going to double click until I see motion inside the female folder. So male will have the same thing too. Okay, so now to apply the motion to your avatar, just double click, same as you would if you were applying a pose. So I'm just going to double click whichever one of these. And this box opens up. So it just says move avatar and garment to start position. And then it's just letting you know that there's a transition animation. So if you've seen the prior tutorial videos, you'll hear the various instructors refer to this as kind of like 2 animations in one. So that's what this is. I actually like the transition, so I'm going to keep it. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to do its thing. And like it said, the avatar moved to the starting position. So now to move my library out of the way, you could X out or just hit the library button. And now I've got my avatar with the animation applied, but we still have to do some more work to prepare it for recording. So I'm going to hit simulate to simulate everything. So depending on your style and the animation that you chose, you know, it might look like the clothing doesn't fit on her. It might look like she's kind of stepping out of her outfit in some way. So that's why we simulate, just to make sure that the garment fits and sits nicely. And what we're looking for is no movement, which means it's stable, ready to go. So I'm going to hit stop simulation. Now I'm going to go to animation here at the top, and I'm going to select animation editor. So now my animation editor window's open, and you can see I've got some options here I can adjust, but I want to show you. If we go here towards the end, I'm going to hit this end button here. You can see. So right now, we've only applied the animation to the avatar. This next step, all this animation editor business, is all about applying the animation to the garments. So what I'm trying to show you is at the how to get to the very end here, which is a little tricky to see. And sometimes there might be a better way to do this, but the way I figured how to do this is my end frame. I'm going to just throw out a crazy number like 900 and hit enter. And then here I need to do the same. So I'm going to hit 900, enter. And then I can increase this. So you can see I've got this transition animation that goes from 0 to 30, so the 30 seconds here, and then walking with one hand on the hip. This is the main motion we came for, so this will end, it looks like, about 6:20, something like that. So I just want to make sure that I am not cutting this off any. So before it was 500, you can see it's still on 500. So I was going to miss out on this little strip of animation. So if I go, let's just say 630 to be safe, enter, and then I've got, you know, a little bit extra, that's fine. We can edit that out. So my end frame is going to be 630. And this will be different depending on the animation that you pick, lots of things. So these are not the same numbers you will use over and over. No need to memorize this. Just make sure that your number here is either exact or, you know, a little over where we're starting. Okay, so to get her back, I'm going to hit this go to start button. So now, whoop, she's back at the beginning. Now I'm going to hit this little camera icon. And yes, it says record, and yes, it looks like a button that would do exactly what it says, but I'll show you it's a little different. So here, I'm going to hit record. So right now it's going frame by frame, animating the garment. So she's doing her thing, she's walking. And this part can take, you know, depending on your system, anywhere from a couple of minutes to maybe 20 minutes or so, maybe longer. Sometimes students have to leave this for a while, for a couple of hours. It also depends on, you know, how much you have going on your avatar. My avatar is pretty simple. She's wearing solid clothing, not really any trims. So this is going pretty smoothly. I am seeing, you know, some collision issues in the joints here, the elbows, maybe some where she's interacting with the hand on the hip with the shorts. So I can show you how to work around that or how to go back and fix this. So, but first I'm going to show you just how to do one successful animation, doing her thing. At this stage, I'm not really worried about what's showing up. I'm just making sure that I don't see any major issues. Sometimes, you know, garments are left hanging in space over here, but okay, so looks like everything worked out. She's done, and this is usually like a typical end frame on most of the animations. She starts over here, usually does something here, does a cool walk back, then walks off here. So now that this is done, I'm going to go to File, Video Capture, Animation. And now my animation little box pops up. I'm going to get rid of this object browser, property editor. We don't need that just yet. Okay, so I've got some options here. On animation, you can select a preset. If you have, you know, a known preset, you know, your web designer says these are the dimensions for a little video that you can use on your website, whatever it is. So I'm just going to leave mine how it is, and I'm going to click this record button. And let me just pause this right here. So she's going to start from the beginning. So now everything that is captured in this screen will be your recording. So if you want to get detail on your garment, you need to zoom in. When we zoom in, it's really important to pause before you start zooming in and out. And I'll show you a good example of what to do, and I'll show you what happens when you don't do it correctly. So let me show you the right way. So she's moving. There we go, walking towards the center. And say, let's say here I want to get a more detailed shot of what she's wearing. So I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm doing this while we've got this paused and she's still. And you can experiment pressing 2 or any of the keyboard shortcuts for the directions. Maybe I do something like this. So I've only recorded 3 seconds of content. I'm going to continue by hitting this pause button. She's walking. Pause. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to put her on my screen better. And so this is what I'm talking about. There might be some situations that I just want to edit out or hide. You can do that. Be creative. So let's see. Okay. So now I'm going to hit pause again just to get this started back up. She's walking. Great, great. You know, if I had a graphic here, some embroidery, something interesting, this would be a good way to capture that. Now let's say I want to show a different angle. Doing a turn. Maybe I pause. Nice look. And then she's off. I can zoom over here. Get another view. I'm going to hit pause just to move this back into position. All right. So now we're done. I'm going to hit the stop. And so now we can see what I've actually recorded. So I've got 21 seconds of content here. If I hit play, you can see all the different camera angles. All right, so if you're happy with that, you'll go ahead and click save here. And I'm going to call this demo 25 with pause between angles. Now, I'll show you. Okay, so I can go ahead and do the same thing. We can go File, Video Capture, Animation, and we can hit Record. And so if I just wanted to maybe get some different angles, maybe I'd mess with the angles less and have just sort of make some B-roll here, something like this. You can get a lot of mileage out of one animation here. So I'm just sort of letting her do her thing, see what I capture through this. And, you know, my plan would be to take some clips from this video and put it together with some clips from the previous video we just created and use that as my content for my first look. So here she's doing her thing. And I would save this the same way. All right. And, you know, I don't have to let it go all the way if I get, you know, the angles that I want or whatever I need to do. You don't have to go till it's complete, but I might as well. Okay, so I'm going to hit stop and we can see what I got. So this one's a little less jerky because I'm not really doing anything except recording how she walks in this space from this point of view. I'm not changing the point of view or anything. So there she goes, and then I would just hit save just like I would the last one. I might just call this Demo 25. You know, I'm going to call this bonus video. Okay, but what happened, this is what not to do. And I think it's really hard to explain it. So I'm going to show you what happens when we do not pause in between changing our point of view. So again, file, video capture, animation. My animation box pops up. I'm going to hit recording. So instead of, you know, say I want to change my point of view, instead of hitting pause and you just zoom in like this on her, it's going to be it's going to be a bumpy ride. So you'll see what I mean. I know it's acting a little glitchy right now, but let me see if I press 2 to get her back. So I am not hitting pause while I'm moving my mouse around the avatar. I am just moving around. So I'm going to stop just because that's plenty of a sample. And then I'm going to hit stop. And now you can see when I do this, see how jerky this becomes. I know it wasn't crazy smooth before, but it can be a little nauseating. So I'm going to call this Demo 25 without or no pause. Let's see. All right. So then in the next step, I would animate all of my avatars, my final project looks, one by one in their own project file. And the next step would be to compile these into a single video that would be around a minute and a half of your 4 looks. So that's what we'll work on next.